All right, let's get right into it. Welcome to LJG Sports. So, there's a major update on Chris Paul's future with the San Antonio Spurs. This is coming out today, May 26th, and it is expected, according to this report, that Chris Paul will not come back to the San Antonio Spurs. We signed Chris Paul last year to a 1-year deal worth, I think, like 10 million, and so he's a free agent this summer. It is expected that he won't be coming back, and there's actually a link to a team in particular. We'll get to that in a second, but first I want to talk about this from the Spurs perspective. And I knew this was probably inevitable. I personally wanted, in a dream scenario, wanted Chris Paul back on the San Antonio Spurs next year, but as a third string guy, someone who can ride the bench, like, and be more of a coach, mentor, player coach, mentor for the young guys that we have. Help develop Chris Paul. Help develop Stephon Castle. Help develop hopefully Dylan Harper with the number 2 pick this draft. And that was my dream scenario, like sign him to a 1-year, $5 million deal, have him be on the bench and just coach and mentor this young team. Because I feel like as much as a lot of Spurs fans didn't like the way he played this year, he wasn't that much of a scoring threat anymore. Defensively is almost kind of a liability at this point. He still has great hands, but he's small and he's old, not as quick as he used to be. And despite all of that, him and Harrison Barnes, what they did for this team is just leaps and bounds important, because they showed us how to win. And as a young group of guys who don't have that experience, who are trying to find themselves and trying to find, what works, who's the alpha, who's the top guy, all this stuff, it really helps to get a guy like Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes, but especially Chris Paul. And you could even see with the Oklahoma City Thunder, that time he spent with them, I think it was just 1 or 2 years, but helped SGA tremendously. And he is now the player what he is today, a lot because of the way Chris Paul mentored him back in OKC. So I do think it will be kind of sad that he is leaving, obviously, but I think it was expected. Now, the team he is going to, or it looks like he's going to, the team that he's linked to, which is very obvious, it's the Dallas Mavericks, our rivals. And why the Dallas Mavericks? Well, they obviously just won the Cooper Flag sweepstakes this past draft lottery, and so they're gonna pick Cooper Flag. They already have AD, who they traded for this past deadline, and they have a really good team. They have guys like Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively, PJ Washington. They still have Klay Thompson. They have a lot of guys that can play well on this team. But the thing is with the Mavericks that they don't have Kyrie Irving for probably most of next year, and that hurts. So I think they have Christie from the Lakers. They still have him. Do they feel comfortable playing him at the 1 with this team next year, who's gonna try to compete for a championship, especially with Cooper Flag coming in? I don't think they're comfortable with that. So Chris Paul is a perfect free agent, 1-year deal. Can help Christie develop, can help just run the show for a little bit, for probably most of the regular season, at least next year. And then hopefully Kyrie can come back in the playoffs. That's what you're hoping if you're a Mavericks fan. And it's not like Paul's going to take away touches from Cooper Flag. It's not like he's going to take away touches from AD or anything like that. He is a pass-first guard, and you saw that with the Spurs this year. He averaged under 10 points, I think, this year for the Spurs. He gets guys involved. He still has a knack for the game. He's still a good game manager. And that's exactly what the Mavericks need, because they do want to compete for a championship next year. And a lineup of like Chris Paul, Klay Thompson, I think they're going to play a 3 and then Cooper Flag at the 4, AD at the 5. But I would love to see a lineup of Klay Thompson at the 2. You have Washington at the 3. No, excuse me. You have Flag at the 3. You have Davis at the 4, and then either Gafford or Lively at the 5. I think that would be a super long, defensive, versatile starting five. That would be very dangerous for the rest of the league. So, yeah, it looks like the Chris Paul news is he's not coming back to San Antonio. When I first saw the headline, I read it wrong, and it was that Chris Paul probably will come back to the Spurs, and I was like, really? And again, I would love for Chris Paul to come back in a dream scenario. What I would hate most of all is, well, let me say this. There's three scenarios that could happen here. The first thing I would want to happen is Chris Paul returns to the Spurs and plays a minimal role, so more of a mentor coach role. The second thing is he just leaves, walks off, goes to the Mavericks. That's fine. Obviously, I prefer him to go to another team, but it is what it is. And the third option, which is the nightmare scenario, is Chris Paul, we re-sign him, giving him considerable money again, and he starts, or is even a second unit guy. And I say that because not a knock on Chris Paul, that I don't think he can ride the second unit. The problem is with us drafting Dylan Harper at 2, probably, we now have De'Aaron Fox, Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, the Rookie of the Year, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson. Not to mention Malachi Branham and Blake Wesley. We have a lot of guards on this team. And with the addition of Dylan Harper, Keldon Johnson's probably going to have to play a 3, which he can. He's strong enough. He's big-bodied enough to where he will play the 3 pretty well, I think. He even played the 4 sometimes for us last year in very small ball lineups. But that's the thing. There's no room for Chris Paul on this team anymore. Assuming we draft Dylan Harper and assuming we get a big via free agency or through the draft, hopefully, there's not enough room on this team. We need to let the young guys play. We have De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle. We have Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, obviously. Dylan Harper, who would be coming in. A big, possibly through the draft, like Thomas Sorber, Victor Wembanyama, Jeremy Sohan, Julian Champagnie. And then Harrison Barnes. We're still paying him for next year, and he'll probably be a bench guy, I would assume. I think Sohan should start over him, but we'll see about that. So, yeah, let me know what you think about this Chris Paul news. Are you bittersweet? Are you glad? Are you sad? What do you agree with or disagree with? Let me know down below.